All right. Dude, this is so wild. Oh, man. All right. Yo. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Rob the Mic for episode 10. And as you guys can see, the setup is a little bit different today. I figured because it's the 10th episode, I should probably do something that I've been trying to do for a while. And I know a lot of you have been asking for it. So it's something I've been really trying to work on. And I finally have everything set up. So I'm really, really excited to finally be able to share a video portion with you guys. So got the software all set up. If there's any hiccups, please bear with me. This is a brand new thing. I've never done something like this before. So hopefully it turns out okay. Hopefully. Trying to keep my fingers crossed. And you guys too. So, this is nuts. Made it to episode 10, you guys. Thank you so much for all your love, your support, everything that you do. And the way that you guys are just there and that you listen and that you hear me out and all the responses in the DMs and the conversations that have been started because of the podcast are pretty fucking rad. For a lot of you guys that I talk to on a pretty regular basis, I've actually been able to establish a deeper connection with some of you. And that's what this is all about. This whole thing, and I've told you guys from the very beginning, this whole thing's about a conversation with friends. And if somebody else can pull something from this and we can start a new conversation and start something amazing, then let's do that. And the vulnerability that's been expressed, the way that, or I don't even know if that's even the way you would say it, but I guess like how vulnerable you guys are with me, I really appreciate that. It means a lot. And sometimes I read these messages and I go through these things, and of course I respond to you guys, but as I'm going through it, I start to go through it and I break down because for me, I just feel like I'm in this room doing this thing. I'm in front of a mic, and I mean, I've never had the video portion, right? But regardless, I just feel like I'm kind of talking. Like I always forget throughout the process that this is going to go live. It's going to go online somewhere and people are going to be able to listen. And I know it sounds crazy. Like, how do you forget? You're recording it. You're obviously doing it. But I do, because I get so into the conversation and so into what I'm talking about. And I get lost in it. And then I stop, I edit, I do what I have to do. And then that's it. Like, I forget about it. But then I get messages from you guys and it reminds me like, oh shit, this is real. The stuff that I was talking about is actually really sensitive. And if it's affecting somebody else and allows you guys to open up, then fucking cool. And I know for some of you guys, it's even got you to open up, for example, to your partners, and it's strengthened connections that way and connections through friendships and things like that. And I've even had other friends that I have that didn't know that we were friends, that they've connected because of the podcast. And that's something really cool too. It's very unexpected, but I'm very honored. And again, I appreciate all of you guys. I love all you guys. Thank you for your support. Everything that you guys continue to do, and hopefully you guys stick around for this next chapter. It's still going to be available exactly where it's always been available. So Spotify, Apple, any place you can stream the podcast. But now I'm going to be making the transition over to YouTube. So all of these videos here are going to be available on a YouTube channel, which is the link is currently in my beacons. So if you click on the link in the bio for the Rob the Mic podcast, you'll be able to see this. And I've slowly been trying to transfer the other 9 episodes on there, but unfortunately my computer is a little bit on the older side, so it's struggling a little bit, because especially for like the longer podcasts, man, it takes a long time to process on the computer. So be patient. I will have everything on there. Even though it's going to be a still image, I would like to have all the episodes on there. That way the full library is available at all times through any streaming platform. So again, thank you guys. I'm super excited to share this next chapter with you, and let's get into it. So I was trying to think of topics and what to talk about for episode 10, because I had this big idea, right? As you guys can see, I'm introducing video, but I wanted it to be something special. And I didn't really know how to go about it. And I'm like, well, what do I talk about? Do I talk about mental health? Do I talk about cars? Do I talk about what's going on in my life? And I didn't want it to be too serious. I didn't want it to be, not that I didn't want it to be funny, but I wanted it to be something special. So I figured this is the time to do something that was a little bit different, that you don't really see too much on podcasts, or see and or hear. So instead of coming up with topics, I have something here in front of me that's going to help me kind of guide the topic. And I played it a little bit with a guest that I had on the show. And actually, let me backtrack a little bit. So the idea came from a question box that I had put up on the Instagram. And when I put up that question on the Instagram, a friend of mine, Natalie, who was on the show, responded. And basically what I had asked is, what do you guys want to hear on the podcast? And she responded, dude, two things that were actually pretty cool. One of them was to take a spontaneous trip and then report back on how that went, which that's coming soon. So stay tuned. But the second one is what got my attention, because I actually introduced it on her episode. And what that was is she's like, dude, why don't you play Winners, which is We're Not Really Strangers. So for those of you guys who don't know what it is a card game. If I can get it to focus. It doesn't want to focus. What's happening? Okay, there we go. So it's called We're Not Really Strangers. And essentially, it's a card game so that you can get to know the people around you, whether it's your partner, your mom, brother, sister, anybody. And I've had this game for a little while, and I've peeked at it with some friends, but this is going to be the first time that I'm technically playing it. And it's kind of weird because you're supposed to be playing it with somebody else, but essentially I'm playing it with you guys, right? Or myself, because there's just a camera here. There's not really a person, but yeah, so we will see how this goes. But yeah, let's jump into it. All right, so this is kind of like an unboxing in a way, because I've opened this before, but I didn't really look into it again. So we have our little book here, and that seems to be a note from the creator. Let's check this out. It says, I have found there are 2 ways to play this game. 1, play safe. 2, play to grow. The second is how you win. Winners. So I actually like that. That's pretty rad. And basically what this game consists of is 3 different levels. Oh, shit. I'm already dropping stuff. Anyways, it comes with these little pencils, and I'll explain what those are for after. But it's 3 levels, essentially. So your first level, if not mistaken, is perception. And the way that the book describes it is, do you know how others see you? Level 1 is about gaining perspective on what first impressions we give off and challenging the assumptions we make about others. The second level is connection. Who are you, really? This round is about asking the rarely asked questions and connecting on a deeper level. And 3, reflection. Time to reflect on your game experience. So the one thing, or I guess 2 things that I won't be able to do because of this, or with the circumstance that I'm in, is use what's called a dig deeper card. And the dig deeper card is basically, it can get used once per level. And these cards are meant to encourage transparency if you feel your partner is holding back. So let's say you ask someone a question, something random, and they give you like a very bland answer, or they're not really going into it, but it's something that you want an answer to. Of course, the person doesn't have to do it if they don't feel comfortable. But the cool thing is that you can kind of call bullshit in a way and be like, hey, dig deeper, and go for it. And then the final card is, when's the last time you received a handwritten note? That one time from your 6th grade crush? Us too. Within the deck, you'll find the final card that wraps up this game. Use the pencil and a notepad to write your partner a note. Fold in exchange. Open up only once you 2 have parted. So you can kind of take that however you want, whether it's a note to a friend, partner, however. You can get as deep as you want. You can keep it as light as you want. It can be something funny, however you want to roll. But I'm very excited to jump into this with you guys. I have no idea what this is going to be. Again, I've never played this. Like, I've never fully sat down to play this. I've only opened it, checked it out with friends, but we've never played. So we are going to start with level 1, and I'm going to do my best to see how this goes. I feel like level 2 might be a little bit easier just because it's questions to go deeper. And these things are more so like a perceptive thing. Like, what do you guys think I do? But what I can try to do on level 1 is give you guys a little bit of, like, for example, if I ask a question, I can tell you what other people have told me regarding that question. So let's jump into it. Okay, so level 1. What about me is most strange or unfamiliar to you? Oh, that's a tough one. That's a really, really tough one. Um, Most strange or unfamiliar. I think that can go a bunch of ways, dude. I have had so many people that are just curious about me when they meet me. It's like, what do you do? Why do you do it? Because for a long time, especially if you've gone to my Instagram, I have a certain aesthetic and I go about things a certain way. And it's not that it's secretive, because I'm not super secretive about things, but at the same time, I don't really talk too much about what's going on other than this podcast. I think this is the first time in an online space that I've ever been so open, vulnerable, and just kind of free about whatever the fuck is going on in my life. So I would say the most strange or unfamiliar, I'd say a little bit of everything. And hopefully as I keep going with this podcast and keep going through, I guess, this whole journey, hopefully I can continue to become a little more familiar to you guys so you guys can get to know me better. And I try and be, again, as open as possible because I want you guys to connect with me. I want you guys to understand where I'm coming from and see what this is all about. So hopefully that answers that question. And I guess another part of it, what about me is most strange? I'm trying to think about me, like what's something about myself that's really strange. Oh, dude, this is crazy. I would have never thought. I don't know what's like strange about me. I guess I have certain tendencies, I guess, if you see them, like if, depending on like things in my room, the way I have things positioned, like certain OCD things that certain people will find strange. Like when they come in my room, they see, which you guys can kind of get like a little peek of that. I have my shoes organized a certain way. I have my clothing organized a certain way, which I guess isn't really strange because a lot of people do that, but it brings me a lot of peace to do that. And when it's one thing to talk about it and then to see it, because then once you see it, you're like, oh shit, this is a little different. Why is it like a boutique? But it's just something. It's something that I do. So I guess that's one thing that's kind of strange. If it's not, I'll try and think of something else. And if I think of something else, I'll bring it up to you guys. So let's go to the second card on level 1. I don't know how many I'm going to do from each. So let's see how this goes. Let's see. What do you think is the hardest part of what I do for a living? So I guess for myself, it'd be, what do I think is the hardest part of what I do for a living? Oh, man. Okay, so I think the hardest thing about what I do, for those of you guys, let me backtrack a little bit. For those of you guys who don't know what I do, I'm a graphic designer. And I think one of the hardest parts, I don't know if it's the absolute hardest thing, but I think one of the hardest things is to constantly have to be creative. So whether it's been from past jobs or clients that I've had, it's one of those things where even if you're not really feeling up to it, you have to be able to create something. You have to. And have I turned away clients before because of that? 100%. But a majority of the time, it's just having to constantly switch on, even when I'm off. So, or even having to switch between multiple things. That's another hard aspect too. But so I guess those are two things, and I'll go into them separately. But the having to be creative part, because especially through school, I didn't really have the gas. I was super burned out all the fucking time. And granted, I did it to myself because of my schedule. So due to my financial situation, I had to cut a certain amount of time out of school. And when I cut that time out of school, I was stacking my credits so high that I was just going all the time in so many different subjects, whether it was I was studying for something, especially in my preliminaries. I'd be in like an art class, and then I'd be in an art history class. So I'd be over here trying to study for this art history exam and go through 17th century whatevers. And then I'd also have to be creating like a magazine ad or some sort of poster or do something. And it was having to stretch my mind in so many different ways. So even at the times that I didn't feel creative, I had to sit there and do it anyway. And I think kind of forcing myself into that situation and putting myself into that mind space, it really helped me out a lot, not just in my creative work, but I guess in life in general, because a lot of the times we don't want to do shit. We just don't, even down to the simplest things, right? Like let's even say, even brushing your teeth. Sometimes you just don't want to fucking get up. You don't want to do it, but you do it anyway. And this was the same kind of thing for me. And even if I didn't want to do something, I had to do it. I had to create it. And I would always do my best. I'd try and find inspiration, usually in the weirdest of places. I wouldn't, if I was working on something, I didn't look for inspiration directly in that place. So, example, magazine ad. If I had to work on some sort of like mock magazine ad for whatever it is that I was doing, I wouldn't go look at other magazine ads. I would go look at random shit. I would go look at food. I'd watch food videos. I'd watch all kinds. I watched a lot of videos for my inspiration. Video is a massive, massive inspiration or inspirator for me. So I tried to look in weird places because that's where I got it. Because the thing is, when you don't have any gas, you have to be really careful as a creative, because once you start getting into shit like that, what you don't want to do is copy work. And a lot of the times, especially in professional environments, believe it or not, it happens all the time. They will send you quote unquote inspiration. And they're like, hey, here is this thing. We want it to look like this, smell like this, everything exactly like this. Okay. But we want our brand on it. And that shit kills you. That's not it. It takes away your creativity. So you have to look in weird places and try and find something that can drive you to a place that you didn't even know you could get to. And that was one of the hardest parts, again, is just having to find that creativity. And the second thing I would say is multitasking, but multitasking creatively. So prime example. When I was working for PacSun for a while, I would have so many different brands that I'd be working on simultaneously. And like signage for the stores, or if we had like a special project, I'd be working on a bunch of different things at the same time. So I'd have to switch from, let's say, Fear of God to Brandy Melville, which for those of you guys who know about those brands, you'll understand that they are two polar different brands, completely different audiences, opposite sides of the spectrum. Fear of God is like a very minimalist, very post-apocalyptic brand, which a lot of you guys know of it because of the breakoff brand that was started with PacSun, which is called Essentials. So it's a very clean, not super A-line, but just very clean, very minimal, very muted colorways, blacks, grays, tans, mauves, things of the sort, olives. And Brandy Melville is, again, the I can't even talk. It's the polar opposite side of the spectrum. You get a lot of tartans, which is like, for example, like a picnic table type of pattern, plaids, spring colors, light blues, whites, pinks, purples, and things like that. And it's not all like that, but a lot of it is that way. And I'd be working on these things simultaneously. And I would have to figure out, for example, in store, how to get both of them to work at the same time. Because everything had to make sense, especially if it was in-store signage. Or even if it went online, because I would have ads going back to back. Or if it was going to get used for a photo shoot, like something had to work, or a window display, I would be working on two different aesthetics at the exact same time. And being able to do that is a really heavy skill to have. And those of you who are in the creative field, and also outside of the creative field, right? Because you have to learn how to multitask to a certain degree with anything that you do in life. But those of you in the creative field understand how stressful that can be, because you're having to match one thing, and then sometimes you carry some of that aesthetic over here, and then you're like, oh fuck, what am I doing? This doesn't work. And then vice versa, you start carrying this over here, and you're like, oh shit, this doesn't work either. And you're like, oh god, like it becomes like scrambled eggs up there, and it's kind of nutty. But it's so cool, and it's cool, but it's really hard. It's really, really hard. And I even dealt with it a lot at 4 Wheel Parts, where I'd be working on stuff for Mickey Thompson. And granted, I know it doesn't sound like it would be super different, but I'll explain why. I'd be working on stuff for like Mickey Thompson, or really good one was like Pro Comp and Smitty Build. So granted, yes, they're both in the 4x4 industry. They were both of our in-house brands, or two, I should say, of our in-house brands. And you would think they can just kind of ride each other, right? Like it's all good. Everything's cool. But the matter of the fact is, for example, packaging, completely different. Aesthetically, completely different. Type was different. Colors was different. Structure was different. Every single thing was different about these two brands. So I would be working on, let's say, a box for Pro Comp for fog lights. Cool. I'd be getting that together. And then I'd be doing packaging at the same time for Smitty Built. Let's say it was like some sort of shackle, or if it was like a step for a Jeep or something like that. And somehow they were both due the same day, or let's say they were a couple days apart. I would have to switch between the two because I get burned out on one, go to the other. But I would have to be switching because, again, they're two completely different aesthetics, even though they ride within the same realm. So having to kind of like split that all the time makes you feel like you're going crazy. So it's a blessing and a curse to be able to have the opportunity to work on shit like this. But those are the two biggest things that I would say, at least that I can think of right away, that are super difficult about what I do for a living. Let's jump into number 3. Ooh, do I seem like a cat or dog person? So a lot of people have told me, I guess both, but there's a specific with one. I've been told that I seem like a cat person. I am very much a cat person. I love cats. Not all of them. No, I lie. I do love cats. I do love cats. I have 2 myself. And I think I like them because for myself, especially when I'm here at home, I'm just chilling. I'm doing a whole lot of nothing. I'm either watching TV or I'm on the computer doing something of the other. And my cats will pretty much do the same thing. They'll either find a spot on my desk, they'll chill at here at my feet, or somewhere in my room on my window behind me. And they just kind of do their own thing. I do my own thing, but we love being in each other's company. So like that, I really appreciate. So I'm very much a cat person, but I am also a dog person because I love dogs. Dogs are so fucking rad. I've had them around my entire life. I don't think there was a time that I didn't have a dog in my life. So I've owned a couple myself, and I don't have one right now, just have my 2 cats. But the dog that I've been told that looks like I would own is either one, like a little Chihuahua, like the little fools that are just like angry, yelling and like screaming everywhere. And 10 out of 10, I would love one of those fools just because I could like carry him around, and I feel like I put like a little beanie on him and just like cut out his little eyes. Like I put like a little balaclava and just make him like a little sick ass fool. For sure. Or I've been told that I look like a husky owner, and I love huskies. I would love one. I would say I'm in the market for one, but I've kind of always been in the market for one. So if I ever see a pup or something like that, I will 110% pick one up. I love them. I love their energy. I love the way they are. I think their personalities are a trip, and that's something I really appreciate. And I've been very lucky to experience that. For example, with my cats, like they're not just complete dickheads. They're like people. They have these really weird ways of doing things, the way they interact, and I can appreciate that. But again, from a dog perspective, and the huskies that I have been around, it's very much a dog that I would love. So 10 out of 10, go with that one. So let's see, what are we at? 3. I can't really do this one. So what was your first impression of me? Well, dude, this is a tough one. I kind of want to do it because I've had people tell me, I guess it's more so like what they thought I would be like. So we're going to save that one. Save that one. Let's go to the next one. Let's see. Oh shit. Okay. Oh, dude. Okay. So this one kind of rides with the other one. Do you think I intimidate others? Why or why not? I gotta get a drink of water before this one. Okay. So I've been told This, and I guess this goes more so with like automotive stuff, because this is where I've heard it the most. So again, do you think I intimidate others? Why or why not? And honestly, I should probably be showing you guys these fucking cards so you guys know what I'm talking about. There it goes. Boom. Now, fucking question 4. Anyways, so I've been told, I think it's more so because of my car, but they're like, dude, it's kind of intimidating. But it's just the presence of it. That's it. It's like, dude, I promise I'm a really nice guy. Like, you can come up to me, say what's up. I'm probably going to end up giving you a hug and telling you to text me when you get home, type of shit. So I guess that kind of answers that one. That's kind of a quick one. But I don't think I'm intimidating. I could be completely wrong. It could also just be my face, like the way I look sometimes, because I know that sometimes when I'm kind of just sitting there, or like I'm not really saying too much, especially if I'm out like at automotive stuff and I'm just like thinking, or I'm thinking all the time, and I might look angry, but I promise you I'm not. Like, come up, say what's up. Again, probably going to give you a hug, and I'm probably going to tell you to text me when you get home. So I'm very much that type of person. So let's see, what are we on? Question 4. All right. Question 5. How many speeding tickets do you think I've gotten in my life? So I've been told that I seem like a person that wouldn't get speeding tickets. And I'm not even showing you guys the damn question. Anyways, knock on wood, I have not gotten a speeding ticket before. So I was close. I was really close one time. And I guess I can tell you guys the story. I was really, really close one time. It was when I had my E36. I was driving out to school. It was pretty much during our finals and when I was about to graduate. So what we were basically doing is, for a certain amount of time, it's like the last couple of weeks, essentially you're prepping for a really big presentation. So you work on this project for a year, and essentially what it's supposed to do is showcase all of your skills that you've learned in school. So you create some things. For some people, it was creating a brand. Some people, it was an experience. Some people, it was a product. For myself, I ended up designing a racetrack, which was pretty cool. And I had a lot of fun doing it. Pretty rad. I got to show my 2D skills, 3D skills, video work, all kinds of stuff. And it was really fucking rad. But anyways, I was going to school one day and I was running late. And again, I was in my E36, and my school is called LCAD, or like I would say was, but it is still called LCAD. But anyways, the way I would go is I would take the 405 and then I would cut off onto the toll road to head towards Laguna Beach. So when I was going onto the toll road, like I was chilling, everything was mad cool. And then there's a stoplight. And basically when you hit that stoplight, after that stoplight, you go into the canyon. Like you drive up a little bit and then it's all canyons. But the first part of the canyon, as you're going up, there's a dip, and CHP loves to chill right there, or Laguna Beach PD, either one, sometimes Irvine. And at this point in time, there was these two cars. There was like a van in front of me and there was a truck, and they were going super fucking slow, like way below speed limit. And I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, I gotta go. So I downshifted and I dipped the fuck out. Like I swung around these dudes and I'm full balls. I'm just gunning it. When, like, as I'm fully in it, I had probably hit like 75, 80, which is way over like how fast you're supposed to be going in that little part. And I fly past the cop. I could have swore when I looked to my left that we made eye contact, and I was like, motherfucker. And since I was on it, I wasn't even like already going fast. Like you could hear the car that I was fucking just, and I was fucking in it. So I immediately just fucking hit the hazards and pulled over. Cause I was like, dude, he's coming for sure. There's no way that he didn't hear me and or see me going. Cause it's a white sedan, fully polished wheels. Not that it's super loud, but it was very, very bright. And the white on that car was insanely bright for sure. So I pulled over, and then I had to act fast. So what I ended up doing is popping my hood, and I had also just done some suspension work, but I popped my hood. I dipped out. And then sure enough, he came up right behind me super quick. But I was already out of the car and I was under the hood. Came up, super cool guy. The coolest fucking dude I could ever run into. Comes up to me and he's like, hey, dude, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, dude, like it's all good. I was like, dude, I was trying to get over super fast because I heard something on my suspension. So I asked him, I said, hey, bro, can you do me a favor? He's like, yeah. I said, can you jump in the driver's seat? And he looked at me kind of funny. And I was like, I need you to move the wheel left and right. I was like, because I feel like there's some play, like I hear some clunking going on. I was like, I just replaced my lower arms. I was like, so I don't know if something's loose, but I heard something funny when I was coming up the hill. So the dude's in there. He's like, dude, this thing's really nice. And I had a Corbeau in it. And he was just like, yo, this thing's like super clean. He's like, this is really nice. Super young cop. Really cool cat though. So he gets out. He's like, dude, you're sure everything's okay? And I was like, yeah, dude, I'm positive. I appreciate you. So that, dude, that was like the closest shit. Cause if he could have got me for sure. And I think he knew, but at the same time, he's like, fuck, this guy might be in trouble. If I can help him out, let me see what's up. So that was, that was one time that I almost got one. So let's see, we're at 5. Let's do 2 more. Let's do 2 more. Let's see. Oh, that's a wild card. Can't do wild cards. Okay. What subject do you think I thrived in at school, and did I fail any? Dude. This is tough. Okay. So one subject that I did really, really well in, I would say I had an English lit class at the end of like my high school. And I don't even know why I'm going directly to high school, but I'm going to go to high school first. So with that, a big part of that class was poetry. And that was something that I loved and I did super fucking well in. And when it came to art school, something that I really, really thrived in was if I had any chance to do anything with typography, that was something, because I loved it so much and I wanted to learn, I constantly wanted to learn about it. There wasn't a time throughout my design career that I didn't want to learn more and more and more about typography, which is also why it was a major focus of my entire schooling. But yeah, those were the subjects that I thrived in. And I would say, I would ask you guys, obviously, like this says, right? Like, what do you think I thrived in? But those are the ones that I did. And as far as, did I fail any? Man, I was horrible. At the jump, I was horrible with math, for sure. I always did super poorly. It wasn't my jam. I hated it. I'm still not that great at math, but regarding math, if you ask me to calculate your wheel specs and shit like that, or anything regarding automotive, completely different subject. I'm like a fucking mad scientist. So I will help you. In that perspective, I will help you. Ask me all the things. Anything else? Oh, dude. Sorry, you're lost because your boy can't help you. I'm not there. If at some point I have kids, oh my God, dude. If at some point I have fucking kids and then they bring me their math homework, aside from simple shit, and they're like, yo, how do you do this? Bro, I don't know. I'm either pay for a tutor or I'm gonna hit up one of the homies that's really fucking good at this shit. Because thankfully I do have a lot of friends who do like statistics and all this like calculation bullshit. I'm gonna send them over there. Yo, talk to your auntie, your uncle, figure some shit out because they're gonna help you. I can't do that. So let's move on to the 7th. Do I seem like more of a creative or analytical type? And explain. Ooh, okay. So thankfully, I've been told that I seem like more of a creative type. I have been told that I seem like an analytical type, but that I definitely seem creative. And I think it's just because of maybe the way that I dress. I know sometimes like the way I dress gives that away for some people, but I think it's just the way I am. And most people, when they do meet me and once they kind of get to know me a little bit better, they're like, oh yeah. And I tell them, for example, like, hey, I'm a graphic designer. Or they ask me, hey, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm a graphic designer. They're not surprised at all, which I'm like, okay, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I tend to take it as a good thing because I'd rather come off as more of a creative than not. And especially because it's my life and I love it so much, I take a lot of pride in that. I do take a lot of pride in being a creative and being a graphic designer and being able to make things even like this. Like this is very creative. Like what I'm doing right now throughout the whole software process and doing this whole shit. Like it's how I love to do things. I love to do things in a different way and express myself in a different way. So very, very stoked that to the people that I have met that I come off as creative because what do you know? I actually am creative. All right. So let's move on to level 2. Let me see. And also throughout this process, like when you guys hear this episode and or watch this episode, because now you can do both, let me know what you think about it because this is a little bit different. I know technically I have topics and I jump into it. So if this is something that you guys fuck with, cool, I'll run it. And if it's something that you didn't like so much, also let me know. Because again, I accept any and all feedback. I appreciate it. I love it because I want to know. Because aside from, myself and the conversations I'm having, I don't really know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like I'm here. I'm in my studio. Which is in my room. And I'm just like, oh, it sounds like a good idea. Or like this, like very close friend of mine. Hey, run this. Okay, let's run it. Let's see what the fuck happens. So keep me posted. Let me know what you guys think about it. So this is level 2. So we're coming up on connection. Okay. So what's your father's name and tell me one thing about him. So my sperm donor's name is John Carmona. And one thing about him, I'm trying not to be negative because I don't really have too much good shit to say. I would say man, this is tough. Not that I don't have anything good to say in general, but I'm trying to think of what's one thing about him. You know what? I'll tell you, he is tall. I'll give you that one. So that's one. Let's go to the second one. Second one is, if you get to know someone in your life on a deeper level, who would it be and why? Oh, there it goes. Okay, if I can get to know someone in my life on a deeper level, who would it be and why? There's a couple of people that can kind of sit in here. And I can say from my family perspective, I would love to get to know. I have an uncle that's very, very reserved. He's crazy, but he's very reserved. And I feel like he's very interesting in the way he processes shit. Like I don't understand it. And I want to know why and how he does certain things. And also I think he's had a very interesting life story. He came here from Guatemala and started a whole new life. And the drive and just the mentality that he had, I feel like was very survivalist in a sense. And he's been here ever since. And I look at him and I watch him and I listen to the way that he talks. And I'm like, dude, it's so fucking interesting. So I would love to get to know him more. Another person, I think you can always get to know your parents on a deeper level. And I would love to know, I know my mom really fucking well. Really fucking well. Thankfully, I have a very good relationship with my mom. But I have so many questions all the time. I always have so many questions, especially about her past, like things that she's been through, like all of it. I would love to get to know her on a deeper level. And hopefully, as I continue to get older, our connection continues to strengthen, right? Because you can never know too much about someone. Or I guess you think you know someone, but you don't know everything, right? You can always find out more. So I would say those two people, at least family-wise, and friend-wise. Ooh, this is a trip because I can call out a bunch of people on here, and I might. I don't know. Okay. Ooh. bear with me, guys, because I'm trying to think. I can go so many different ways with this. Okay. One person I would love to get to know on a deeper level is my buddy Jay. I've been friends with him for a couple years. I know him pretty well, but I feel like I could learn so much more about him. And I would love to get to know like why he ticks and why he is the way that he is, because I've had certain conversations with him that were incredible, dude. When we talk about like things in our childhood or how, for example, super brief example, we talked about graffiti one time. That was one of the best conversations that we've ever fucking had. And again, we're close. We kick it super often, but I would love to get to know more about him, his family, more of his story, because I feel like I'm constantly learning about him, which is what I love about the homies that I have around me. Is I feel like we are constantly learning from and about each other, which is really important. And at first, I didn't used to be that way with my relationships. I used to just kind of, I guess, not keep them like surface level, but I used to keep a lot of relationships very, very surface level. And I realized how important it was to keep a tighter circle, and not just a tighter circle, but to have like a really deep connection with those people that are in your circle, because it creates that sort of like that lifelong bond, right? Which is essentially what we're all looking for. Because for myself, I don't have a very, very big family. So my chosen family, the people that I choose to have in my life, are very fucking important to me. And I love them as if they were my family, because I see them that way. I see them as my brothers, my sisters, which even on here on the podcast, like you guys will hear me refer to them. Oh, my sister Natalie, or oh, my brother Albert, or oh, my brother Rob. It's like, I really do mean that. So he's one person that I would love to get to know deeper, like on a deeper level. And another person, I would say, I guess I'll give two more people. Another person would be a friend of mine, Brianna, that I went to art school with. She is an absolutely incredible person. And she's going on, she's doing a little bit of like a self-work journey right now. And I think it's changing everything up. The way that she's processing shit, the way that she feels emotions, all of it. Like everything is starting to shift up, and it's a trip because we talk about it now. And she knows for myself that I'm obviously on this journey too, that I'm going to therapy weekly, that I'm constantly doing self-work and figuring out what works best for me and how to just be in a happier place. And she's also doing the same thing. And I know that once she's in a better place, as if we already don't talk daily, like I know our connection is just going to strengthen, and I'm really looking forward to that. So she's another person that I would like to get to know on a deeper level. And another person would be, this is tough. This is really, really tough. Another one that you guys might know, I would say my buddy Darian, Mr. Craven, who is a photographer, phenomenal photographer, very close friend of mine. Fucking love that guy. And I've always found him to be a very interesting individual, not just because of his photography style and things that he does, but just the way he processes information, the way he talks to people, the energy that he has, that he's sort of like a magnet, and it's a trip to watch him. And I love interacting with him. Any chance that I've gotten to be with him, it's always been very, very special. The time that I've spent with him is also really special. And I feel like he has a lot to offer, and I would love to get to know him on a deeper level. So for any of you guys who heard that, if you're one of those people, not trying to put you on blast, but just trying to be honest, you know what I'm saying? So that was, let's see, 2. I don't know how many I should do from here. Maybe I'll do 4. Let's see how this goes. Okay. Oh, dude, this connection section. Okay. So what are you still trying to prove to yourself? What am I still trying to prove to myself? God damn. Okay. I don't want to get too deep with you guys, but let's jump into it. Let's jump into it and see how it goes. I think something that I'm still trying to prove to myself is that I'm somebody. I think I've worked really fucking hard to get to where I am today, and I'm really, really hard on myself, especially career-wise. And I think a lot of it is just the work ethic that's been instilled, the people that I have around me. I really, really look up to them, and I want to be somebody that people can look up to, that I myself, when I look in the mirror, that I can be proud of, because sometimes I look in the mirror and I'm just like, who the fuck are you? Like, what are you doing? You know? So I'm trying to prove to myself that I'm somebody, that I'm enough, that I'm worthy, and that I'm worthy of so many things in this life. And I think one of the things that I've also been working on that's pretty heavy is that I'm worthy of love, because I know I love really fucking hard. Those of you who know me, who are very involved in my life, you also know that I love very, very hard. And due to a loss that I just had, it feels weird. Like, I don't feel like I'm trying to prove anything to myself, and I shouldn't have to prove that to myself, right? Like, I shouldn't have to prove that I'm worthy of love, but yet here the fuck I am every single day, looking in the mirror, constantly having to tell myself, like, you're worthy and you're worth it. And someone out there is going to appreciate that and look at you and care for you the way that you need to be cared for. So I would say it's not just one thing that I'm trying to prove, but it's a few things. But those are some of the things that I'm trying to prove to myself. And I'm trying to be as gentle and as patient as I can, because, excuse me, I'm also, I would say, when it comes to shit like that, like, I'm a very impatient individual. I want to see instant results with everything that I do. And that's not how this type of shit works. When you're trying to prove something to yourself, when you're trying to create and be something, to show yourself something, it takes time. And for example, even with this, right, like the whole podcasting thing, as I'm growing and as I'm jumping into now the visual space, it's like I'm trying to prove that I deserve to be here, to myself, not like necessarily to you guys, but to myself. Like, because I've grown up. I remember when YouTube started, and I was like, man, it'd be kind of cool to be in that space and like just kind of do something in there. But I never thought I'd ever do it. And this is my first time doing it, and kind of, you can say attempting, but it's also not really attempting, because I'm fucking jumping head first into it and hoping for the best. But I'm trying to prove to myself that I can do it. So this is another thing I'm trying to do, is just prove to myself that I can do shit. That when I think of something and I'm trying to put something into motion, that I'm capable of making it happen myself. That I don't need anyone to hold my fucking hand. I don't need handouts. I don't need shit like that. That I can do it myself, and that I have to believe in myself. I have to push myself, because a lot of the times throughout life, that's kind of what we're stuck doing, right? And it's like I've talked about before with you guys. Before we go to bed at night, regardless if you're laying next to somebody, you're by yourself, and you're having to process and do things yourself. And I think without you knowing, you're proving to yourself that you're enough. You're proving to yourself that you can get through it. You're proving to yourself that you're strong, and that you're capable of all kinds of things, including love. Because when you're patient and you do certain things with yourself, you're proving to yourself that you love yourself, which is very fucking important. Don't ever forget that. So that's one thing and a few things that I'm still trying to prove to myself. Let's go into the next one. Dude, motherfuckers, dude. Okay, so this next one is something. What part of your life works? What part of your life hurts? Okay, what part of my life works? I would say my friendships. My friendships are the one thing that work, and they work very, very well. Another thing, actually, no, let's leave it at that, because that part of my life is very fucking important. And if it wasn't for my friends right now, I'd probably be in a way darker place than where I have been, because it's been as you guys know, you've been walking with me through this journey for the past couple months and even the past couple weeks with the way that the podcast schedule is now. Keeping those people, the right people around me, has been a really, really big help. And it's my favorite part. It's my favorite part. I owe a lot to them, all of them, everyone who's involved in my life right now. You know who you are. Because if I sit here, it's going to sound like the fucking Academy Awards. So I'm not going to put you guys through that shit. But, man, what part of your life hurts? God damn. Dude, this fucking game, again, for those of you guys, if you want to get somewhere with somebody, play this fucking game. Because if this doesn't give you anything so far, I mean, I don't know what else can, but I would definitely give it a shot. Fuck. Okay. The part of my life that hurts right now is, I would say, my love life. I would say that's probably the biggest thing. Like, because I consider even the relationship with myself a part of my love life. And that's the number one thing. That's the number one thing that hurts the most right now. And I'm constantly talking about it with friends and constantly talking about it with my therapist. And I'm trying my hardest to heal it. And it really fucking sucks. I hate it. I hate every part of it. I don't fucking like it. I don't like it. I don't like being hurt. I hate thinking about the past, especially with my ex, because it's really fucking painful. It's really, really fucking painful, dude. And I wish I could just kind of like breeze past it. And I can't. I have to be in this right now. I gotta hurt. I gotta process. I gotta feel. And because of that, I'm hoping that over time things will get easier. And it's lessons, right? It's shit that I'm learning right now. I'm learning how to love myself. I'm learning how to spend time with myself. I recently, the past couple weeks, I've been going to eat by myself once a week. Whether I go get dessert or I go eat dinner, I sit down wherever it is that I'm going. And it's just me by myself. The last time I remember doing that was probably, like well over 10-ish years ago. Because when I worked, I was a tech for like an elder community out in Laguna Beach. And I was doing phone, I was doing TV, like I was just a general technician for stuff like that. Basically low voltage tech. And sometimes, depending on what was going on, when I would get off work, there'd be a ton of traffic. So what I would do is I'd go to either like a restaurant up the street, whether it was something fast, like The Habit, or if I found like a sit down spot, and I'd go and I'd have dinner by myself. And I would just chill. And it was super weird at first. And I was like, whoa, people are like staring at me like, what the fuck? I look like a loser. I'm here by myself. But as I did it more at that time, like it was fucking cool. And I hadn't done it since then. And granted, yeah, have I eaten by myself? Yes, I've gotten food and I've eaten in my car. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about going to an actual restaurant and sitting there and eating by myself. And just kind of being there with me and doing something that I want to do. If I wanted a certain kind of food, I'll go get it and I'll sit down and I'll eat it there. Because it's what I want. I owe it to myself. I love myself. Why not take myself on a date? And if I can sit there and just enjoy my own company, then why not? Why the fuck not? So I'm learning to heal a lot of that. And again, we can have a deeper conversation regarding the healing process and like the shit that I'm kind of dealing with. But because if not, dude, this second part of this fucking question, dude, this can take up a whole segment in itself. But I would say the whole love aspect is what hurts the most. It is when you miss someone that you really love with your entire life and you no longer have that person in your life. It's a really fucked up thing. And I know some of you guys out there listening, and not guys specifically, but like some of you out there listening, I know you guys know what that feels like, and it's really fucked up. So, yeah, that's the part that hurts the most right now. So let's see. Ooh, describe your perfect day. What a way to come up. Okay, that's a good one. Describe your perfect day. And what I'm going to try and do is I'll do 7 of each. So my perfect day, I would say to get up somewhat early. It's a sunny day, but it's not super, super hot. There's still a nice breeze out. I'm going to break it down as best as I can. I would love to go get waffles somewhere, because if you didn't know, you're about to know. I am definitely 10,000% a waffle person. Nothing against pancakes. I love me some motherfucking pancakes. I will eat me some pancakes, but I love waffles. I would love to go get me a good fucking waffle, really good waffle. And I would love it to be, I would say, driving the queue, because I would love to drive the queue around, but it also stresses me the fuck out, especially because, as you guys know, no one fucking gives a shit. And parking that car in a regular parking lot, someone slamming their door on it would just break my entire existence. So it doesn't have to be in the queue, but would I love it to be in the queue? Yes. From there, go on a cruise somewhere. I love driving more on like the LA side. I try to stay out of OC, especially if I'm in the queue, because it's not it. It tends to not go very well. So probably head more towards like San Pedro, something like that. Chill on the beach somewhere, park up, and just kind of enjoy whatever the fuck is thrown at me. Chill out, have a good time. Probably have a tall can or something like that. And then from there, if I was actually, that's a good segue, because I was going to say I would love to have pizza involved in the day somehow, because another thing you guys are going to learn is I fucking love pizza. Pizza is fucking everything. Everything. Like, I love pizza. 10 out of fucking 10. So if I was in Pedro, I'd probably want to roll over to Buratino's, which is stupid fire. Stupid fire. They have this crazy ass pizza. It's super thin crust, which I'm normally not a fan of, but it's really bomb, I promise. And it's like I think it's like a double or triple pepperoni pizza. The most ignorant shit on the planet. And the pepperoni's so fucking good. So I'd probably love to pull up there, wolf down a pizza. From there, probably go cruise some more, because why the fuck not? I love doing that any chance that I get. And then either come back home, freshen up, or depending on the situation and where I'm going, I would love to go have a cocktail somewhere. Because depending on how much pizza I ate, I might be full still. So I don't know if I would want to, I don't know if I'd want to eat again. Who the fuck knows? But either a cocktail or really good dessert. Like cheesecake, massive fan of cheesecake. I'd love to go get me some cheesecake. Really good ice cream. A cocktail. Fuck, I guess there's a few things. Cake. I could love cakes. I could find me a good slice of cake or something like that. 10 out of 10 down for that. I would say that sounds like a pretty overall perfect day. And then probably close it out either watching a movie, or I guess right now something that I'm really into is watching Vikings. If you guys haven't seen the series Vikings, go watch that shit. But if you have a weak stomach, or like violence isn't really your thing, I'm not going to say I would shy away from it, but definitely be aware, because that show's really fucking violent. Like, I've seen some shit on TV, movies, and shows and things like that, but it's pretty aggressive, and it has its moments that even for myself, I'm like, oh shit, like that happened. Mm-hmm. They just filleted that dude, mm-hmm. And they showed it. So yeah, I would probably say something like that, finishing with some sort of movie, TV, just kind of winding down for the night. That would describe my perfect day. Let's see. Oh shit. Yo. Okay. Have you ever told someone I love you, but didn't mean it? And if so, why? I would say that I haven't, but I am guilty of that. I am definitely guilty of that. I've had it. Let's see. Fuck, dude. I've done it with family, honestly. And it's not, I guess I mean, I really didn't mean it. And the reason why I did it is because I knew it was something that they wanted to hear. And if I would have went the latter, it would have been a lot different. So I think it was more so just to evade and just kind of keep peace in a sense. But I fully didn't mean it. And do I regret it? No, I don't regret it one bit. I think if you tell someone that you love them, I think you should mean it, you know? But I think in certain situations, obviously it goes against what I just said, right? Because I said it and I didn't mean it. But I'm not going to say it's situational, but I guess it can be. Look, you do what you think is right. You do whatever the fuck you think it's right. Whether it's with your family, whether it's with your friends, whether it's with your partner. Just be careful. Be careful with that shit, because it's a really dangerous thing when you start telling people, I love you, but I don't mean it. And if you don't say it, this is another thing on that same subject. Because you don't say it, it doesn't mean that you don't love somebody. I know that's been a thing for me in the past, where like I haven't said that I love the person, and the other person goes and thinks that like, oh shit, like this person doesn't love me. And that's not the case. So also for some of you guys listening, remember, if someone doesn't tell you that they love you, it doesn't mean that they don't. There could be so many circumstances, so much shit going on. Maybe they're feeling a certain way, something of the other. But yeah, that's a tough one. Like, dude, man, these fucking questions, yo. That's what I'm saying. If you guys want to get to know somebody, play this fucking game, dude. Play this fucking game, because you're going to learn some shit. So what are we on? 3, 6. This is number 7. Ooh, what has been your earliest recollection of happiness? My earliest recollection of happiness, I would say, is when I went to Guatemala with my mom when I was a kid. Because there wasn't, at least where I was at, like in that zona, there wasn't, my aunt had a TV, but it was like really shit. So I had to just kind of like play and just be a kid and explore and like fuck around. And I got to see like the jungle and see all these like crazy wild animals all the time, and like go to certain places and go swimming, and just, it was just fucking rad. That entire experience was super fucking rad. And I've been trying to go back. Hopefully I can go back in the next year or two. But I would say that's my earliest recollection of happiness. I have some other moments too, but that was like a very different kind of happiness that I will never forget in my entire life, for sure. So that was those 7. Let's go to level 3, which is reflection. What am I most qualified to give advice about? Okay. What am I most qualified to give advice about? I would say, from a career standpoint, like a professional standpoint, I would say anything involving design, because it's something that I've done for so long that I feel like I'm in the position now that I can finally help people out. Because even when you're in school, you're still learning. And even now, like, I'm still learning continuously, constantly, all the fucking time. So being where I am now versus where I was then, now I can finally say, hey, you know what? I feel like if you shifted this like this, if you change this type up, if you bump this, change this image, that sort of advice has a little bit more weight. So I would say that. And I'm growing into this, giving more advice about mental health, especially now that I've been kind of going on this journey and dealing with this whole chapter, or writing, I should say, this whole chapter of my life right now. I think it's given me a lot of perspective that I didn't have before. It was one thing to kind of advocate for, I guess you can say, like men's mental health and mental health in general, but it's very different when you're in it. Once you're in the driver's seat and you're experiencing this shit, it's heavy. It's really, really heavy. But I'm doing my best to give the best advice about that. So hopefully I can continue doing that. And I hope that you guys are liking it so far, because the journey for me has been pretty fucking cool. So I would say those are some things that I'm most qualified to give advice about. The second one, what are you more afraid of, failure or success, and why? So I'll show you guys that. There it goes. The obvious answer is failure, right? Because you fail. That's it. I mean, everybody has a different definition of what failure is to them, but I think that's a pretty obvious one. But honestly, man, I think being afraid of success for me is a big one, because it's like, you know, your potential, but you're almost afraid of getting there, because at that point, you know that anything could happen. And I think that sort of unknown is really scary. And I know a lot of you listening are probably like, oh, fuck, I never thought about it like that. But it's the truth. Success can be a really, really scary thing. And right now, even kind of doing this podcast and doing more socials and things like that, I found myself kind of really processing what the fuck I'm doing, because like, I want to grow a certain way and I want to reach a certain level of success doing this, but it's really scary and it's exciting at the same time. So I think it's a mixture of both, of that scary and exciting type of thing. But I would say of the two, success for sure. Let's go into the third one. Let's see. Okay, how would you describe me to a stranger? If I was outside myself and I had to describe myself to a stranger, I would say he's very kind. He is full of love, loves to dance, and will probably give you a hug at some point. Those are some things. That's how I would describe myself to a stranger. Let's see. Number 4. What do you recommend I let go of, if anything? I don't even know if I showed you guys the last one. My bad. I think I did. Okay. What do you recommend I let go of, if anything? Man, dude, these fucking questions. Y'all are getting me to say some shit. And granted, it's not even you guys. I'm fucking asking myself these questions like a dickhead. So I'm putting myself in the situation. But I'm doing it for you guys, so I hope you guys like this shit. I think it's what a lot of people struggle with, and it's the past. Daily, I'm constantly reflecting and going through and going over the past, and especially recent events. So that's something that I'm really trying to work on. And certain days I do really well, and certain days I do shit. Like, it is horrible. Like, I feel like sometimes I'm in a plane and I'm kind of like, I'm rising, about to hit the clouds, about to hit cruise control, and then some turbulence goes down and I fucking crash straight into the ground. Like, I don't even like get close to crashing. Crash all the way. Just That's it. Done. But I'm working on that. I'm really, really trying. And it's a daily battle. I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it. But it's something that over time I will get better at managing, and that eventually I'll be able to look at it as like as a learning thing, and just kind of say like, oh shit, like even though this was horrible, I was able to take this from it. But I'm currently not in that place, so I can't say that just yet. But I hope to one day get there. Let's see. Okay. I had picked up a wild card. And to give you guys an example what the wild cards are, shit, where was the one I just pulled? Oh. Wild card. Give your partner a compliment you don't think they hear enough. I guess we can do that one as like a quick little bonus. You're beautiful. And for the next card, how does one earn your vulnerability? Have I earned it? And how can I earn more? So how does one earn my vulnerability? I feel like if you are kind and genuine, and it's something that I would like to think I'm a pretty decent judge of character. Have I been wrong in the past? 100%. But especially with kindness and sincerity and those types of things, I tend to really feel them. And if I can feel that from you and I receive that from you in some sort of way, I'm probably going to be super vulnerable with you. I'll let you know something that I probably wouldn't tell most people, or that I tell like my closer friends. Like I will slowly open up to that, because it's a really tough thing. And especially when it comes to friends. I mean, of course, we've all been burned before. We've all had friends that are like super, everything's fucking cool, and then they do something really shitty, and then you're like, oh, what the fuck? I opened up. I was super vulnerable. Everything was rad. And then now they're just a fucking stranger. And it even happens with relationships too, right? But I think that's something we have to learn to let people, like, give them the chance to be able to do that. Because as people, we got to learn to let people in, because it's a beautiful thing when people get to know you. And even this, like doing this whole process, even today, I hope you guys were able to learn a little bit more about myself. And it's rad. I know it's really hard to be vulnerable, but it's really fucking rad when you can break past that point with people that you love and you care for. But I would say that's probably the biggest thing. And as far as, have you guys earned it? No, because I'm just here on camera doing this shit. So I wouldn't say that you've necessarily earned it. But I love being vulnerable with you guys. This is fucking cool. And how can you earn more? For those of you guys who I interact with, continue being the way that you are. Continue being kind. Continue being full of love. And I mean, I'm an open book. You guys can always ask me anything and everything that you guys want. I'm not shying away from anything. I find it very, very flattering, and it's very humbling when you guys ask me stuff, because you never really think people want to know, and they do want to know. So what are we on? 5? We got 2 more. What is a lesson you will take away from our conversation? Okay. A lesson that I will take away from this conversation with you guys is referencing the card that I had just read to you, which is to be more vulnerable. And that even though it's scary and makes me feel very uncomfortable, it's a beautiful thing. It really is. Like I feel good right now talking to you guys. It's cool. It's really, really cool. So I would say that's the biggest lesson from this conversation. And what are we at? So 4, 6, 1 more. Ooh. What do you think my weakness is? I don't know if I should leave that one open-ended. I kind of want to leave that open-ended for you guys. I'll answer it too, but I kind of want to leave that one open for you guys. So when you hear this and or watch this again, because here we are in the YouTube space now, go ahead and comment or DM, and I'll put this as a question for the episode. So when you guys are listening on Spotify, go over to the Spotify and like either, I think it's like when you scroll down or when you hit like to show more, it'll show you the questions and the polls. I'll put this in there. And I'll leave it as a question box. I would give options, but I kind of want to see what you guys have to say about it. As far as what I think my weakness is, I would say I love really hard and I love really fast. I'm a hopeless romantic. I grew up watching a ton of films that were, of course, a lot of them romance based. I grew up just kind of believing in this fairy tale and thinking that it exists. And I know somewhere it does, but man, it's a really hard way to be, especially in today's day and age. I find it to be a massive weakness because I have this idea of what I think love is and what it should be. And because of my current state, I feel like bitter towards it. And I see other people when they have success in their relationships and things like that. And I'm like, motherfuckers, dude, like they got it. Like, what the fuck? But everyone has a different process. So I feel like it's a weakness and a strength, but I would say for myself more of a weakness because I do wear my heart on my sleeve. And again, I love very hard. And those of you who know me, and also those of you who are watching and or listening right now, I'm sure you're getting to know that part of me as well, that I love very hard. And sometimes it works against me. Backfires, shit bites me in the ass. And I'm like, why did I love the way that I did? But I don't regret it. I fully don't regret loving hard, loving fast, because dude, this life is so fucking short. And I've experienced a lot of things in the past couple years that have shown me that. Whether it's dealing with loss in any sort of way, whether it be like losing a family member, whether they passed away, losing a relationship, friendships, anything like that. It's taught me a lot. And I've learned that even though things are really fucking difficult, I don't regret loving hard. I don't regret people being my entire life. And I wish some of those people I could still love right now. And I mean, I still do love them, but I wish I could show them even more than I did at the time. And some people, honestly, I didn't show enough and I should have showed them more. So definitely a weakness on my part. But man, I had to take a sip of water there. So that is the game. You can play as many question cards as you want. You can go as deep as you want in this whole fucking thing, right? And like something that it says on the box is come curious. I don't know if it'll focus. Let's see. There it goes, kind of. It says come curious. And then the other side says leave connected. So that's what this game is all about. And I hope even for you guys today that when I started playing this, you were a little curious, and that leaving this game, you feel a little more connected to me, to the podcast, to this whole fucking thing. This is really, really wild. But man, I really did not expect that. This was a surprise for you, a surprise for me. This is pretty fucking cool. And I'm really excited to release this. I'm really excited to get your guys' feedback. And it's cool to finally fucking do something that I've been trying to do since the beginning, but I finally have certain equipment and certain things and I can make it happen. So hopefully this looks okay. I hope you guys like it. Excuse me, man, this is a really wild experience. It's left me in kind of a pensive state. And I'm sure I'll be thinking about this for the rest of the day. But one thing I want to start doing with you guys before I leave is give you a bit of advice. So I want to try and do something, at least like one piece of advice, as if we haven't been talking about all kinds of stuff, right? But one piece of advice. That way you guys can kind of take it, run with it, and think about it, and maybe even pass it on, because that's something that I want this show to be able to spread a certain way. I want you guys to think about the shit that I'm talking about, whether it affects you or someone that you know, and you can shoot this episode over. Hey, dude, go listen to this. I don't listen to podcasts. Just listen to it. He talks about some shit that you're going through. So I want to be able to help in some way, because the pain and the shit that I'm dealing with, I know I'm not the only one. But if there's something that I can do to help somebody out there, I want to do it. So the piece of advice that I'm going to leave you guys with is that it's not selfish to put yourself first. It's selfish to expect others to put you first. Remember that. And I don't want to get too deep into it, but the reason why I'm saying this bit of advice is because I think we as people, we tend to forget ourselves, whether we're in a relationship or in friendships. We tend to just we tend to put the other person and their needs and their wants and everything first. And that can be a really dangerous thing, because you start to lose yourself. You lose who you are. You start to forget certain things that you love, things that you care for, because you no longer have those needs. The other person's needs they will triumph yours, right? And it's not okay. We have to learn, even when we're in relationships, that you have your needs, you have your wants, and those things also need to be met. And that's totally okay. It's okay to be selfish in that regard. But don't ever expect the second part of that. Don't ever expect others to put you first, because it kind of goes along with this quote that a friend of mine told me, and I never forgot it from the moment that he said it. Shouts to Izzy for this one. He said, "You can't expect yourself of other people." So, like, just because you're super kind, you're super loving, you can't expect other people to be that way, because maybe they're not that way. Maybe they weren't raised like that. Maybe they've never felt that. They don't know what it is to be that. You know, you can't, because let's say you're super emotional, you're super in tune with your emotional side, you can't expect somebody else to feel the same way. So for example, if you're crying with somebody, you're going through it, you're expressing your emotions, and they're just kind of sitting there like, this is weird, but they don't feel any sort of way. They don't know really how to console you. You can't be upset because they act like that. Everybody has a different set of experiences. Everyone's gone through different shit, and they feel that way for whatever reason. But again, you can't expect that of other people. So again, it's not selfish to put yourself first. It's selfish to expect others to put you first. So let me know what you guys think about that too. Either leave it in the comment section, either here, down below on YouTube, or in the comment section on the Instagram page. Shoot me a DM, anything, any and all of those things. Now it's kind of weird, right? Because I can tell you guys to comment below, and you can actually comment below. I guess that's kind of cool. So that wraps up episode 10. I appreciate you guys for being here. I fucking love you guys. Love you guys so much. And this is something new. So again, let me know if there's something I need to kind of work on, something to adjust a little bit. I'm super new to this space. I've never done anything like this before. So be gentle, but let me know what's up. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you feel about it. And I will definitely see you guys again for episode 11. So thank you again for tuning in to episode 10. Love you guys tons, and see you soon.